Imagine starting your morning with something you've done for decades. The same warm, familiar drink that wakes you up, comforts you, and feels like a small ritual of peace. Now, imagine discovering that this very habit could be slowly harming your brain after 60. It sounds unbelievable, even unfair, doesn't it? Yet, according to growing evidence in neuroscience and geriatric medicine, the morning drink you trust might be one of the silent culprits behind cognitive decline in older adults. Most people over 60 still begin their day exactly as they did in their 40s. A cup of coffee, a glass of juice, maybe even an energy drink. These habits feel harmless, almost sacred. But as the brain ages, its chemistry, blood flow, and sensitivity to certain compounds change dramatically. What was once stimulating can now become overstimulating. What once energized may now inflame or dehydrate. The truth is, the aging brain is more delicate than we realize, and some drinks that wake you up may actually be stressing your neurons instead. In Japan, where life expectancy regularly surpasses 85, the morning routine is treated almost like a form of medicine. The first hour after waking is seen as sacred, a time to balance the mind, hydrate gently, and awaken the body slowly. Elders there avoid harsh stimulation and instead favor small, deliberate rituals that protect rather than shock the brain. This wisdom, passed down through generations, may hold one of the keys to understanding why some Japanese seniors maintain sharp minds well into their 90s. So what is the drink that could be sabotaging your brain health without you noticing? That's what this video will reveal. You'll learn which common morning beverage may silently accelerate brain aging, how it interferes with your brain's natural chemistry, and what simple Japanese alternatives can restore clarity and focus, all backed by modern science and centuries of wisdom. Before we begin, think about your own routine. What's the first thing you drink when you wake up? Do you reach for coffee before you've even stretched? Do you pour a cold glass of juice or water right away? Or maybe you skip fluids altogether until breakfast. Every choice you make in that first hour matters more than you think. If you're over 60, your brain deserves a gentler start to the day. The Japanese call it asa no mezamashi, the mindful awakening. It's not just about what you drink, it's about how you treat your body and mind as you transition from rest to activity. And that's where we begin our journey, uncovering why one specific morning drink considered harmless by millions may be slowly harming your brain, and what the Japanese do differently to protect theirs. Take a moment to reflect on your own habits, because what you discover next could change the way you start every morning for the rest of your life. After 60, the body's rules begin to change quietly, almost invisibly. What once worked effortlessly now demands a little more care, a little more thought. The metabolism slows, blood flow shifts, and the brain, the most energy-hungry organ, becomes more sensitive to what we feed it. The neurons that once thrived under mild stimulation may now react poorly to the same level of stress, caffeine, or sugar. The chemistry that supported focus and alertness in youth can, over time, turn into a source of agitation, inflammation, or fatigue. This is why habits formed decades ago can suddenly start working against us. The drink that kept you sharp in your 50s might be quietly draining your energy or clouding your thinking in your 60s. Many older adults ignore this shift, believing that, if it never hurt before, it can't hurt now. But the truth is that the aging brain becomes more fragile, its communication systems more easily disrupted. The same caffeine dose that once felt energizing can now trigger anxiety, blood pressure spikes, or even interfere with deep sleep, all of which slowly erode cognitive health. In Japan, elders are deeply aware of this transition. Aging there isn't seen as a decline but as a transformation that requires wisdom and adjustment. The Japanese approach to daily life reflects an understanding that the body and mind must be treated differently with age. Morning rituals are softened, fewer shocks to the system, more harmony between rest and awakening. Many Japanese seniors replace their strong morning coffee with a light, warm drink, often tea or even plain water at room temperature. They believe that the body should be invited into the day, not forced into it. Science quietly agrees with this philosophy. Studies on aging show that hydration, temperature regulation, and hormonal balance in the morning directly influence how clearly the brain functions throughout the day. Too much caffeine, sugar, or even very cold liquid can interrupt the body's gentle awakening process, leading to a spike and crash pattern that leaves you tired or mentally foggy later. The Japanese seem to have learned this long before research could explain why it works. Think of your brain after 60 as a well-tuned instrument. It still plays beautifully, but only if handled with care. Sudden shocks, physical or chemical, can throw it out of tune. That's why paying attention to what you drink in the morning is so crucial. The wrong beverage can silently strain the very organ you rely on most. Now that you understand how the rules change with age, it's time to identify the real culprit. The drink that seems comforting, familiar, even necessary, but might actually be contributing to brain fatigue and cognitive decline. In the next chapter, we'll uncover which common morning drink deserves your attention and why millions of people over 60 should think twice before pouring that first cup. For millions of people, the day doesn't truly begin until the first sip of coffee. That rich aroma, the warmth in your hands, the burst of alertness, it feels like life itself returning. Yet for those over 60, this comforting ritual might not be as harmless as it seems. Coffee, particularly when consumed immediately upon waking, can place unexpected strain on an aging brain and body. Here's why. When you wake up, your body naturally releases cortisol, the wake-up hormone that raises alertness and prepares your mind for the day. Drinking coffee too soon floods the system with caffeine at the very same moment cortisol levels are already peaking. The result is overstimulation, a racing heart, blood pressure spikes, and an abrupt chemical jolt to the brain. For younger adults, this might pass unnoticed. But for someone over 60, whose nervous system and cardiovascular balance are more delicate, this daily stress can add up, quietly wearing down mental focus, memory, and mood. Research has shown that chronic overactivation of stress hormones is linked to faster brain aging and reduced cognitive resilience. A study from the Journal of Psychopharmacology found that older adults metabolize caffeine more slowly, meaning it stays in their bloodstream for longer. Instead of providing a smooth lift, caffeine can linger, leading to disrupted sleep, anxiety, or that familiar wired but tired feeling many seniors describe. Over time, this disrupts the brain's natural rhythm of rest and alertness, the very pattern that protects against neurodegeneration. In contrast, Japanese elders treat the morning differently. They rarely reach for coffee first. Many begin their day with a cup of warm water or mild green tea, not for caffeine, but for balance. Green tea provides a gentle dose of L-theanine, an amino acid that calms the nervous system while maintaining mental clarity. It awakens the brain softly, supporting focus without overstimulation. This is a subtle but powerful act of respect toward the body's rhythm, something the West often overlooks in its rush to feel awake. Culturally, the Japanese see the morning as a bridge between two worlds, rest and activity. It's not meant to be crossed abruptly but mindfully. Coffee, taken too early or too strong, can feel like running before you've even stood up. For an older brain that craves balance, that sudden chemical surge can be exhausting rather than energizing. This doesn't mean coffee must be eliminated forever. Timing and moderation matter more than abstinence. Waiting an hour after waking, reducing the amount, or choosing lighter roasts can make a significant difference. But the key lesson remains. What used to be a harmless comfort might now be quietly overloading your aging brain. As we move forward, we'll look at what science and Japanese wisdom together reveal about how this overstimulation affects the brain, and what practical steps you can take to protect your mental clarity for years to come. Modern science has begun to uncover what traditional Japanese wisdom has known for centuries. How we begin the day shapes how our brain functions for the rest of it. The link between morning drinks and brain performance is stronger than most realize, especially after 60. And coffee, the hero of many mornings, is now under the microscope for its double-edged impact on aging minds. Several large-scale studies have explored caffeine's relationship with cognitive health. Moderate intake can indeed offer short-term alertness, but frequent high doses in older adults have been linked to sleep disruption, elevated cortisol, and even reduced blood flow to certain brain regions. Research published in the journal Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience showed that excessive caffeine in people over 65 was associated with higher levels of anxiety and poorer sleep architecture, both known predictors of cognitive decline. The same study noted that seniors who consumed caffeine later in the morning or switched to green tea showed more stable alertness and better memory performance. Japanese health culture integrates this understanding into daily life. Instead of chasing stimulation, they focus on rhythm and recovery. A morning that starts calmly sets the stage for balanced brain function throughout the day. Older adults in Okinawa, one of the world's famous blue zones for longevity, typically begin with warm water or mild tea, often followed by gentle movement or breathing exercises. This practice increases cerebral blood flow gradually, rather than forcing it through sudden spikes in heart rate and blood pressure. A 75-year-old Okinawan woman once described her morning tea as a conversation with my body. She sips slowly, listening to how she feels before deciding whether to have a small cup of coffee later. It's this self-awareness that Western routines often miss. By contrast, many people over 60 automatically reach for caffeine before even checking how rested or hydrated they are. The result can be chronic dehydration, jitteriness, or brain fog disguised as tiredness, symptoms that may simply stem from the wrong morning drink at the wrong time. The science aligns neatly with this philosophy. The aging brain's blood vessels become less elastic, meaning sudden pressure changes, like those triggered by caffeine surges, can cause microvascular stress. Over time, these tiny strains may reduce nutrient flow to memory and learning centers. In Japan, this understanding is embedded in daily behavior, not just theory. Their approach shows that longevity is less about strict rules and more about mindful adjustments. The lesson is simple, yet profound. Stimulation should never come before stability. A calm start nourishes the brain, a rushed one depletes it. And while coffee itself isn't the enemy, the timing and manner of consumption determine whether it heals or harms. Now that the science and tradition have drawn the same conclusion, the question becomes, what are the other seemingly harmless morning drinks or habits that could be quietly undermining your brain after 60? Beyond coffee, there's another morning habit that seems entirely harmless, even healthy, yet can be surprisingly harsh on the aging body: drinking cold water immediately after waking up. Many people have heard that starting the day with a glass of water flushes toxins, rehydrates the body, and boosts metabolism. While that's partly true, the temperature and timing of this act can make all the difference, especially after 60. When you wake up, your core temperature is slightly lower, and your digestive and circulatory systems are still in a resting state. Pouring a glass of icy water down your throat the moment you rise might feel refreshing, but it forces the body to react abruptly. The sudden cold constricts blood vessels, slows digestion, and can momentarily reduce oxygen flow, all of which place unnecessary stress on an older cardiovascular system. For some seniors, this can even trigger dizziness or heart palpitations. Japanese elders know this instinctively. Their morning hydration is gentle, deliberate, and always warm or room temperature. This practice, known as Mizuwari Asa no Shinsei, morning water renewal, aims to wake the organs gradually. Warm water helps dilate blood vessels, supports circulation, and signals the brain that the body is ready to begin its day. It's the opposite of shock therapy, a calm invitation rather than a command. Science quietly supports this cultural intuition. Studies on thermoregulation in older adults show that extreme temperature contrasts, whether from food, drinks, or the environment, can trigger stress responses in the brain and body. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Aging Research found that older adults who consumed warm or room temperature fluids in the morning experienced better hydration stability and cognitive focus than those who drank cold water immediately after waking. The explanation lies in blood flow and vagus nerve activation. Warm water relaxes the nervous system, while cold water activates a stress reflex designed for emergencies. Imagine your body as an engine. After a night of rest, it's cold, quiet, and still. You wouldn't start it by flooring the accelerator. You'd warm it up first. The Japanese morning rituals operate on this same principle. Respect the transition between rest and wakefulness. For the aging brain, that respect translates to steadier blood flow, calmer nerves, and sharper mental clarity. So, while drinking water in the morning remains essential, the how matters as much as the what. Replace that shock of ice-cold water with a slow cup of warm water or mild tea. Give your brain and body a few minutes to awaken together. As we move to the next discovery, we'll see that even drinks labeled healthy can carry hidden dangers when taken at the wrong time or in the wrong form. And one of them might be sitting right in your refrigerator, disguised as a natural choice. The refrigerator hums softly, a bright carton catches your eye, and you pour yourself what seems like the perfect start: a glass of fruit juice. Sweet, colorful, and packed with the promise of vitamins, it feels healthy, even virtuous. But for people over 60, that morning glass might be another silent saboteur of brain health. Fruit juice is often marketed as a natural energy source. Yet most commercial juices, even those labeled 100% pure, contain concentrated sugars that act almost identically to table sugar in the bloodstream. When consumed on an empty stomach, these sugars cause a rapid spike in blood glucose, followed by an equally sharp drop. This sudden fluctuation deprives the brain of steady energy, leading to fatigue, irritability, and mental fog later in the day. Over time, these glucose swings have been linked to cognitive decline and insulin resistance, two key drivers of age-related brain changes. A study in the journal Nutrients found that older adults who frequently consumed fruit juice at breakfast had higher rates of insulin resistance and poorer cognitive scores compared to those who consumed whole fruits. The reason is simple. When fiber is stripped away during juicing, the body absorbs sugars much faster. The aging pancreas struggles to compensate, producing stress hormones like cortisol to balance blood sugar, and that cascade of hormones can exhaust the brain's delicate chemical balance. In Japan, juice is rarely part of the morning table, especially for elders. Instead, the first drink is almost always mild: water, green tea, or a fermented beverage like amazake. A slightly sweet rice-based drink rich in natural enzymes but low in refined sugar. Its sweetness comes from slow fermentation, not processed fructose. The Japanese philosophy toward food, hara hachi-bu, eating until you're 80% full, also applies to flavor: gentle sweetness, never shock. It's this moderation that protects the mind as much as the body. The problem isn't sweetness itself, it's intensity and timing. After 60, the body becomes less efficient at processing sugar quickly, and the brain's sensitivity to glucose balance grows stronger. A high-sugar drink in the morning is like flipping a light switch too fast. It may brighten things for a moment, but it can also cause a burnout effect later. A better alternative, inspired by Japanese elders, is to replace fruit juice with water infused with a slice of citrus or a few drops of natural vinegar. Both awaken digestion gently and support metabolism without the sugar overload. Or simply eat whole fruit alongside a light breakfast, letting the fiber slow absorption. The key is consistency, not deprivation. Small choices repeated daily protect the brain far more effectively than sudden, extreme changes. And as we move forward, we'll see another habit, one deeply woven into morning routines worldwide, that might surprise you with how quietly it erodes focus and memory if left unchecked. Something went wrong while generating the response. If this issue persists, please contact us through our help center at help.openai.com. Something went wrong while generating the response. If this issue persists, please contact us through our help center at help.openai.com. For many, the smell of freshly brewed tea is the essence of calm. But not all teas are created equal, especially after 60. Black tea, strong breakfast blends, or teas mixed with sugar or milk might seem lighter than coffee, yet they can carry similar risks when consumed first thing in the morning. The body's chemistry upon waking is fragile, and what we drink in that moment can either balance it or throw it off entirely. Black tea contains caffeine and tannins, both of which can irritate the stomach lining when consumed on an empty stomach. For younger adults, the effect might be mild, but in older individuals, whose stomach acid levels are often reduced, this combination can lead to nausea, acid reflux, or dizziness. More importantly, tannins interfere with iron absorption, a nutrient vital for brain oxygenation. Low iron levels are strongly associated with fatigue, poor concentration, and over time a decline in cognitive performance. The situation worsens when tea is sweetened or paired with milk. The added sugar produces the same glucose spikes discussed earlier, while milk proteins can bind to antioxidants like catechins, reducing their protective benefits for the brain. Essentially, the drink many assume to be lighter than coffee can quietly rob the body of essential nutrients and reduce the natural power of tea's health-promoting compounds. Japanese culture offers a gentler alternative, sencha and matcha, consumed slowly and mindfully. These green teas contain significantly less caffeine than black tea, but are rich in L-theanine, which promotes calm alertness. The synergy between caffeine and L-theanine supports focus without overstimulation, allowing the mind to awaken in harmony with the body. When sipped slowly, never rushed, it creates a meditative rhythm that lowers cortisol and enhances blood flow to the brain. One striking difference between Japanese and Western tea habits is the ritual itself. In Japan, tea is not just a drink, it's a moment of balance. The temperature is warm, never hot. The portion, small, never excessive. The goal is awareness, not stimulation. This mindful approach transforms a simple beverage into a tool for brain longevity. Scientific studies confirm this wisdom. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who consumed moderate amounts of green tea daily showed slower cognitive decline and better memory retention over 10 years compared to non-tea drinkers. The protective effect was strongest among those who drank their tea without sugar or milk, mirroring the Japanese custom. For someone over 60, the lesson is clear. Choose warmth, subtlety, and moderation. Replace strong, sweetened tea with green or herbal varieties. Sip, don't gulp. Let the act of drinking itself become a mindful start to your day. And while this shift may seem small, the cumulative benefits are profound. Still, there's another habit, one that's gained global fame as a supposed path to detox and longevity, that may not be as safe for aging bodies as it appears. Few wellness trends have spread as widely as Japanese water therapy. Across blogs, magazines, and social media, it's praised as a secret to glowing skin, detoxification, and even longevity. The ritual is simple. Upon waking, drink several glasses of water before eating or brushing your teeth. Many swear by it. Yet for adults over 60, this practice can quietly become more harmful than healing if misunderstood or overdone. The theory behind Japanese water therapy stems from real cultural habits. In Japan, morning hydration is indeed encouraged, but traditionally it means drinking 1 cup of lukewarm water to gently awaken digestion and rehydrate after sleep. The modernized version, however, often exaggerates this step, recommending 4 to 6 glasses at once. For older adults, that much water consumed too quickly can lead to what physicians call hyponatremia, a dilution of sodium in the blood. Symptoms include confusion, headaches, dizziness, and in severe cases fainting, all of which directly compromise brain function. Scientific evidence confirms that overhydration can be just as risky as dehydration. A 2021 review published in Clinical Interventions in Aging found that sudden, excessive fluid intake in older adults can disrupt electrolyte balance and even increase fall risk due to transient confusion. The problem isn't the water itself, it's the pace and quantity. The aging kidneys process fluids more slowly, so what seems like healthy enthusiasm for hydration may overwhelm the body's filtering system. Japanese elders, in reality, approach hydration with balance and respect for the body's limits. They sip throughout the morning, not all at once. Many begin with a small cup of warm water, then alternate between light tea and small sips of plain water during breakfast. This measured rhythm supports digestion, maintains hydration, and avoids the stress that flooding the system can cause. The westernized, challenge versions of Japanese water therapy often ignore this nuance, turning a mindful cultural habit into an extreme routine. Think of the morning like tuning an instrument. Too tight and the strings snap. Too loose and they produce no sound. Hydration works the same way. The goal isn't to drown the body in water, but to restore harmony between cells, blood, and brain after hours of rest. If you enjoy practicing Japanese water therapy, adjust it to fit your age and body's needs. Start with 1 cup, wait 10 to 15 minutes, then continue gradually through the morning. You'll gain the benefits: clearer skin, better digestion, sharper focus, without the risks. And this principle of moderation runs through every part of Japanese longevity philosophy. Balance over excess. It's what keeps their rituals safe, sustainable, and effective across generations. Now that we've uncovered 5 of the most common morning habits that can affect the aging brain, it's time to bring these lessons together, to see how simple adjustments, guided by both science and wisdom, can transform your mornings into a foundation for lifelong clarity and strength. In the beginning, God spoke, and the world unfolded from sound. That's not myth, that's the foundation. Jewish wisdom teaches that speech is the bridge between thought and reality. What we speak, we shape. What we withhold, we postpone. Money obeys the same law. It's not merely an economic exchange, and it's linguistic, energetic, creative. When you say, "I'm growing," you echo the very rhythm of creation, an unfolding, a continuous becoming. When you say, "I'm fine," you silence that rhythm. You stop creating. That's why the Torah describes wealth not as a possession, but as a reflection, a mirror of alignment between the material and the spiritual. The words you choose every day are brushstrokes on that mirror. If you speak from fear, it clouds. If you speak from gratitude, it clears. When I began to live this truth, I saw how precise it was. Every time I used words of control, I must, I need, I can't risk. My life tightened, projects stalled, clients withdrew, my energy grew heavy. But when I softened my language, I'm open, I'm guided, I'm growing. Movement returned, the current flowed again. And that's when I realized something profound. Abundance isn't a reward, it's a response. God doesn't withhold prosperity to test us. We withhold it from ourselves through the words we choose. We create scarcity by naming it, and we invite wealth by blessing it. In the book of Proverbs, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." The sages add, "So too are poverty and wealth," because every statement you make about money is a prayer, conscious or unconscious. This isn't just philosophy, it's design. The structure of creation itself is linguistic. Speech precedes form. That means the words you repeat, even casually, become the architecture of your reality. So I began to treat my words like sacred currency. Every sentence was an investment, every thought a deposit or withdrawal. When I said, "Money is difficult," I was spending faith on struggle. When I said, "Money flows easily toward purpose," I was funding expansion. And over time, my results began to match my vocabulary. That's the law in motion. Words create worlds. So let's bring it together. The 3 blocks, the 1 formula, the living rhythm. Block 1, the intellect that forgets surrender. Block 2, the comfort that kills momentum. Block 3, the lie of fine. The correction, gratitude, humility, and growth. These aren't abstract virtues, they're levers of creation, and every time you speak them, you turn the mechanism of abundance a little further open. But don't just understand this. Test it. Speak differently for 7 days. Record what happens. Because something remarkable occurs when you commit to new language. The world begins to listen. And just when you think you've discovered all there is to say, there's one more layer, deeper and more mysterious, the one that will change how you attract wealth forever. So here we are, the circle complete. We began with control and ended with creation. We started believing we were too smart for divine laws, and we discovered that wisdom without surrender is blindness disguised as clarity. Let's breathe this truth once more. Do not say, "I'm fine." Do not hide behind competence or stability. Speak differently. Speak life. Say, "Thank you, growing." Say it when money comes and say it when it doesn't. Say it when you feel blessed and say it when you feel lost. Because those words don't describe your situation. They create your situation. That's the hidden law of Jewish wisdom. Words are not labels, they're builders. The same force that spoke light into the void listens every time you speak about your own lack or abundance. When you say, "Thank you," you invite grace. When you say, "Growing," you invite movement. And when you combine them, you step back into alignment with the sacred rhythm of creation itself. I've seen people transform by living this law, not just in wealth, but in peace, in purpose, in relationships. The moment they stopped trying to be too smart and started being sincere, doors opened. Life started cooperating again. So as you finish this, let me remind you, your financial life is not a spreadsheet. It's a prayer written in numbers. And every word you attach to it, every sigh, every complaint, every blessing, becomes its melody. If you want to shift your wealth, shift your words. Begin today. Whisper those 3 words out loud. Write them somewhere you'll see every morning. Speak them until they become the background hum of your being. And if you dare, share them. Share this message with 3 people you care about, the ones who seem too smart for faith, too rational for miracles, too tired to believe that money can flow differently. Tell them that wealth isn't a formula, it's a frequency. Before we part, I want to leave you with a blessing, one passed down through generations of seekers and builders, dreamers and doers. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift His countenance upon you and give you peace. Let those words wrap around your heart as you walk into your next chapter. And remember this: you have not reached the end. You've reached the door. Because beyond everything you've learned here, there lies a deeper mystery. One hidden not in 3 words, but in 5. 5 sacred words that act like magnets for prosperity. A code whispered through centuries now ready to be revealed. That will be our next journey. And when you hear them, you'll understand why true wealth has never been about the money at all.